The Justin Robert Young Daily Podcast is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JURY. Hello. My name is Justin Robert Young. This is happening a little bit earlier than it normally happens. We are at 7:30 Pacific time. I mean, I guess that's like well into the workday already for you all on the East Coast. But for me, oh Jesus, I'm up at the ass crack of dawn, trying to get everything ready for you guys. Fun stuff to talk about here today. This is slightly a politics story, but I don't have a politics show today, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Woke up this morning to the news that Stormy Daniels, former pornography star turned pornography director turned internationally known a foil to Donald Trump, a possible one-time Donald Trump dalliance, as she claims. And now capitalizing on her notoriety by touring gentlemen's clubs. I don't know. Gentlemen's club, I feel like that's even a phrase that is... In 2018, answer me this. In 2018... is gentlemen's club more offensive than titty bar? Because why would it only be there for gentlemen? I think that there's plenty of room for ladies to come and enjoy a titty bar. It's always a great time when somebody enjoys a titty bar, when the ladies are at the titty bar. I think that's a thumbs up experience every time I've seen it. There's always titties at a titty bar. Might not only be gentleman clientele, but there is almost always titties at a titty bar. Moving on. Here's one lady at the titty bar that you don't want to see. An undercover Columbus police officer, because that's who Stormy Daniels ran into last night. This, according to Channel 10, she got arrested. Channel 10 out in Columbus. This is from their report. The report states that when the officer approached the stage, Daniels held the face of the female officer between her breasts. It also says she did the same to a male officer. The report goes on to say that Daniels fondled the buttocks and breasts of another officer. At that point, court documents state that a fourth officer exited the club to request the assistance to make an arrest. She was arrested. There are laws in Columbus where you cannot do that. Now, as many of you know, in a former life, I used to be a journalist. And if I were a journalist, I would be asking the police department something very, very simple. Did either the male or female officer that were included in this report previous to Mrs. Clifford, that is the real name of Stormy Daniels, before the incidents that are detailed in the report, did either of those officers have a dollar bill in their mouths? Because, folks, as we've discussed on this show, been to many titty bars. I know titty bar etiquette. If you would like a stripper's titties in your face, you put $1 in your mouth. That's what happens. It is something that I've seen at titty bars far and wide, spanning this great country. I don't know if it's international. If you're international and you've been to titty bars internationally, let me know if this is an international trend. Also, if you're a stripper or you're a former stripper, you know some strippers, email in on this, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Actually, you want to know what? Christen the new email. We're about to switch to a new email. I've decided I'm going to reclaim my inbox for the first time. So you can email into jurydaily@gmail.com. Jurydaily@gmail.com. But if those officers did indeed have $1 in their mouths, is that entrapment? Are you inducing a stripper to do something that is reasonably assumed to be a legal activity in many other places? Now, I don't think anybody would dispute that by the letter of the law, Stormy Daniels broke the law. But I would like, if no one else will, I would like to stand up for well-worn, rock-solid, tougher-than-leather, titty bar etiquette. Who else will? We've set a code of conduct over decades. Respected, time-honored, handed down from fathers or mothers to sons or daughters. And if it is indeed the case that those officers did that, then they indeed should be reprimanded, and it should factor into the punishment that Stormy Daniels faces. And I would say that somebody needs to change this law. That the citizens of Ohio need to be made criminals to enjoy one of the simple pleasures of life. Titties in your face for $1. Well, what is that an America that we want to live in? If so goes Ohio, so goes the nation, as the political platitude goes. Oh, where are we going? Well, I'll tell you, friends, straight to hell. This is too excited for fucking 7:30 in the morning. That's my neighbors. My neighbors in general are very, very nice about me running a fucking podcast studio where I yell. This one might get me yelled at. This is early in the fucking morning, and I'm screaming about titties. Oh, okay. We got a great email here that got sent in. Many of you already know that I'm wild. And by wild, I mean I don't like them. They drive me irrationally upset about dating trends. I think that they're fake. I think that they're literally just a wholesale cloth invented thing by blogs, where literally somebody just says the newest dating trend is bleep blooping. Bleep blooping, we've all been there, is when you dial somebody's number into your phone and hit send. And it's like, no, that's making a phone call, motherfucker. You can't just call it bleep blooping and write about it, except they can, and then I give them more attention because I get upset about it, and we all move on. Distractify wrote this. Dating trends everyone hates are now becoming normal at work. Stop it. Fucking, I mean, honestly. They're becoming normal at work. You want to know why? Because they're normal patterns of behavior. We read now, a phenomenon we've heard a lot about in the dating world has infiltrated the workplace, ghosting. What is ghosting, you ask? Well, if you're actually asking, you're a lucky soul. Maybe it's never happened to you, or maybe you just didn't know what to call it. But ghosting is when someone just disappears on you. No call, no email, no goodbye, and absolutely no explanation. It's a pretty horrible feeling to get ghosted on, and it's no longer something that people only risk when it comes to love. According to a trending discussion on LinkedIn, it's become a problem for recruiters and agencies as well. I mean, isn't literally the only reason why we would understand the idea that somebody just stops talking to you as something other than just a thing that normally happens sometimes? Why it's a remarkable pattern of behavior is because it happens in a relationship context, and we tend to get ourselves more emotionally invested, understandably, in relationships. That is the novelty of the fact that it is in love and not in like that you're in love, but it is in the pursuit of love that this is even a thing. Writer Chip Cutter wrote about the new behavioral issue, saying that employers still really don't get it. Quote, more professionals are ghosting at work, infuriating companies as labor markets tighten. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I've never wanted to just, like, for whatever reason, I really almost just became like a 57-year-old Southern mom. Like, I just leaned back in my chair and I read this sentence. More professionals are ghosting at work, infuriating companies as labor markets tighten. And I just wanted to say, oh, Lord, give me the strength. I almost just crossed myself and said in a huffy Southern effeminate accent, oh, Lord, give me the strength. Because that's what I feel like when I read this. That you're going to put the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life in ghosting next to the subject of as labor markets tighten. Honestly, go to hell and die forever. That's what I would like to say. Please go to hell and please die forever in hell. I would prefer that. It's not supposed to be professional if you're flirting with the fucking agency, right? Like, literally, there's the phrase, it's just business. That's another phrase. They're calling it just business. Oh, my God. Fucking so annoying. Fuck you, Distractify. All right, let's go ahead and get into your emails. Again, new email, baby. New email. I'll still read them on both. But jurydaily@gmail.com. Jurydaily@gmail.com. RJ writes, I'm going to use this email as a public service announcement. Stop shitting in the goddamn public pool. My town has an aquatic park with slides and fountains, which, for a small Midwestern town where it routinely gets well into the hundreds, is very wonderful to have. It's only been around for about 10 years, and last year a trend began. People started taking shits in the pool. Whenever this happened, the CDC requires them to immediately shut down for a day to over-chlorinate the pool and other cleaning tasks. Last year, it happened 7 goddamn times. This is already the 3rd incident this year, and it's only mid-July. It's also operated by the city, and they refuse to install cameras because somehow in their minds installing cameras is more expensive than the cleaning costs and the lost revenue. How is that even fucking possible? I'm not even convinced that it's small children because the shit, pun intended, never happens at other public pools, hotels, or anywhere else in the area. So in other words, the bathrooms aren't that bad. Stop shitting in the water. So I would say, yeah, I think you might have a prank situation on your hands. If it happens once or twice, kid shits in the pool, not the end of the world. You got to install cameras, though, right? When you're looking when you're pushing 20 closed days of a public utility because of repeated shitting in. It should justify, right? Within a year and a half, that should justify going ahead and getting those Ring cameras, right? You can go ahead and get those cams. In fact, here's what I would do. I would get those cameras and I would put them online publicly. I would say, look, we're going to put these up online publicly, public security cameras. So any shit that happens, everybody can watch it, and your Nana's going to be on. We're all going to show your Nana, all your Nanas. All your Nanas are going to be watching at all times. And those nosy old birds are going to find every little piece of dirt y'all are doing. One of y'all are pinching a loaf into the lazy river. We're going to know. Nana's going to know. Nana know-how. If you found that funny, please just hit me up on Twitter at Justin R. Young. All right. This is the best thing about moving this show to a daily format, because we get to give topics like this the course that they deserve. We've been asking all week, about whether or not it is racist to state a racial preference in a dating app. We have gotten opinions from all sides, and now I feel like we're going to wrap it up. We're going to kind of fade out on the racist dating app. I feel like we've gotten enough on the subject once I read these emails. Mwah. But what a great week of discussion it's been. Jason writes, I don't think it's racist per se, but man, if you're making a dating profile, when in doubt, leave it out. As a white dude, stating that you have a preference for darker women is going to come off like you have a fetish. Most women of color think they're being fetishized, and they're going to run for the hills. The dude might really like darker skin, but if you're going to have to make it as a potential bonus to the people you date, or just make it a potential bonus to the people you date instead of a requirement. IONetRunner says, I think listing that you only want to date one race is definitely racist. You're saying two things when you do this. Number one, no matter how compatible you are with somebody, if you're not of that preferred race, you can't see them as a romantic partner. Or two, who they are as a person doesn't matter as much as their race. Also, do you only find one race attractive to you? That's fetishistic. Is a race ugly to you regardless of what a person looks like? That's definitely racist. As a white man, I swipe left on people who say that they only date white people. If you really only want to date a person of a certain race for whatever reason, just keep it to yourself and ignore or pass on people who aren't of that race. And finally, Toby writes, just writing in my 2 cents on this whole debate on whether or not it's racist to put your dating profile that you're only dating a certain race. I think it is racist because from my experience, not wanting to date somebody of a certain race goes beyond physical appearance. I have a thing for blondes and generally find them more attractive, but I'm not going to put into my profile blondes only, no redheads or brunettes. This is because I know there are redheads and brunettes that I do find attractive, just a much lower percentage when you're comparing them to blondes. I find it hard to think of a situation where someone can find 0% of a certain race attractive. If that truly is the case, then it's not racist to say, I will not date this race. For those rare people who can find 100% of a certain race unattractive, what do they think of people who are mixed race? Do you find them 100% unattractive also? Are you purebreds only? All right. So I think we've kind of nailed down something a little bit here. Number one, from all these emails, and this is initially this is trying to settle one person's debate with his friend. So we're settling this debate. We're the settlers of Catan. And here's what Catan is. The truth. If you're putting it in your profile, it comes off as ugly. Or at the very least, you're putting yourself in the company with other people that a large enough portion of humanity finds ugly, and that's weird. So think of it like a first date. If you're going to make this kind of the like Google AdWord version of a first date, if the first date was a display ad and now we have Google ads and they're just far more plentiful and far more iterative, then this is basically just making sure that you wear a clean shirt. Or the first words out of your mouth aren't, something bad. Like, I hope you showered tonight. Something like that. That would be a bad thing to say on a first date. Now, you might indeed hope that they showered tonight. You might indeed hope that they have a good job. You might even indeed secretly hope that, maybe if you're Jewish, that you're meeting another nice Jewish boy or girl, right? You might hope that. You might even eventually get the conversation around to asking that. But you don't want to make that the first thing you say. We can all agree with that. So putting it in your profile is the digital version of making it the first goddamn thing out of your mouth. So we can agree that that's kind of ugly. Now, where I think we're split is it racist if on your end, or you're using the platform to subsection out exactly the kind of person that you want? Because I will say to IO Netrunner, or was it IO Netrunner or Toby, who had said, oh, well, I like blondes, but I'll still look at brunettes or redheads. Well, you can dye hair. You can style hair. You can't really do that when it comes to skin tone. So there we go. We've settled it. In the profile, you want to know what? I'm going to go whole hog. It's racist. It's a racist thing to do. Or at the very least, you are courting other people to look at you as racist. So I would say probably a good idea to knock it the fuck off. All right, everybody. Another week in the books. jurydaily@gmail.com. New email alert. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Justin R. Young. Join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com if you want more political talk, including a bunch of Stormy Daniels talk. Well, and head on over to my free political newsletter at freepoliticalnewsletter.com. We are going to do the hype train tomorrow. But I'll tell you what. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is your old pal, Justin Robert Young, reminding you to please don't.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.